Well, here we are. I am making a pinball machine. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'll run you through the process that I've done so far, but this has been since Expo. I basically started this the day after Expo. I've been kind of just fielding a bunch of different ideas, putting a bunch of stuff through its paces, and I already trashed a bunch of ideas. I mean, we're maybe a month out from Expo, and I've already been through a lot of ideas. But this is a pretty solid base that I'm at so far. So this is the first video of the channel. This is going to be, I don't know how often I'm actually going to make these. I might do streaming. I don't know if anybody's actually going to show up for it. I have a rig set up. I have everything going. I could do a full pinball stream channel, but that doesn't seem that popular. And honestly, why? Because I avoid responsibilities because I have too many responsibilities. So tangents. This is going to be full of tangents because most of this is going to be very like uncut. Like I'm just going to do all this off the cuff. So I might cut stuff that's just like empty, like there's nothing going on, or speed through the processes. But this is basically what's going to happen. You might already, if you know me, you might already know what this is going to be. But it has a code name that I put down in this corner, and it's going to be that. But we're not going to change it to the real name until I'm done. So this isn't going to go up on Pinside or be an official thing until I'm like ready to actually unveil something. I might even put this under its code name once I take it to Expo next year, because I'm not going to have art ready by then. I'm not going to have a lot of stuff ready by then, because this is a bit of an undertaking for a first pin. A lot of people start with their first pin being a retheme or kind of doing something simpler. I'm jumping full in. And the reason is I have worked on every area of pinball machine at this point. I've restored multiple machines. And so where am I at currently with this? Well, I'm at the point where I need to start shooting it. I need to understand how this is going to work, but I did some different things from what I've seen other people do, because I need things to be practical. Like, I understand how to use CAD. I understand how to use, I have Fusion, and I know how to lay all this stuff out. I know how to design all this stuff, but it's frustrating. I need to work in 3D. It's pinball. I have to work in 3D. I started trying to draw things out, and it got messy, and it just got frustrating. So I started just laying things out in cardboard and painter's tape. I had seen other people. I actually started out by just doing cardboard and some rough placement of things. But then I saw other people doing painter's tape, and I was like, that's a good idea. I'll try that out. So I started doing that. I wanted to get my rough shots in, so I did painter's tape of the main trajectory shots that I need to make sure they work. Like, this orbit needs to be there, and it needs to be correct. So I got that in. And then I have this other shot. But that was actually from a scrapped idea, which I will show you. But maybe it'll come back later. Maybe when I'm more confident in my skills and I have this all down better, I might bring it back. I might put it in a version 2 of this. But version 1 is going to be a little bit different. I'm doing this in a way that I can adapt it to a version 2 if I decide to do that. But right now, this is what's going to be. I'm gonna take you through a little bit of close up and my thoughts. But first of all, what did I trash? This is what I trashed. Now you might see this and think, okay, maybe a spinning thing, maybe a disc. Well, if you played Winchester or you've seen any of the videos of Winchester Manor, this has been an idea that rattled around my brain for a while, and I want to do it. but it's difficult. It is complicated, and it is very hard to plan and make sure it runs 100%. There are a lot of things that can go wrong, especially since I've never done any pinball code before. I'm a software engineer. This isn't difficult for me, but this is all new. So I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, because if I do, I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to do it. Because it's one of those things where it's like you get to a point where it's like if you're just not making progress, you'd burn out. You're just done. And maybe you'll pick it up later, maybe not. I don't know. But I also don't want to dump a ton of money into this. And this is a money dump, like for real. Because in order for me to make this work, this would have had to spin around a centerpiece. It would have had to have bearings underneath this. So that would have meant carving into the playfield a place for bearings to roll, but trapped bearings, because it also has a scoop. Now, here's the concept. This was basically a facade for a thing that was going to go here. And it was going to spin around, and we were going to have different things. I'm going to cut to my Fusion 360 design, which I still kind of got, but I'll show you kind of what I had for an idea on this. It's a lot. Too much. So maybe it'll happen. Maybe it'll happen at some point, but I need a lot more skill in designing and creating these like fabrications in order for that to work. Because I like the idea of a boss battle that switches up, and the fact that this opens up and it becomes a scoop, and that there can be a permanent scoop. And the idea was it was going to go about here, like it was going to be right there, and it was going to spin around, and it was going to be underneath a second level. Let me get that. So the original idea was the second level, and this was going to sit underneath, and that was going to spin around. That's trashed, because I've never designed any of this, and there's so many things that can go wrong. So I don't want to do all that, knowing that I might screw it up and never get this out the door. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want this to become a forever project. I want to reach a point where, like, I feel like this is done to a version 1. And then maybe I can go back and redesign it later. Or maybe I can make a second model. I don't know. But the point was, it was supposed to have a flipper up here, and it was supposed to like spin around, have an upper level, and things happen. And then this is kind of hidden in here. There'd be a whole facade. You wouldn't even notice it. It would be kind of hidden, and then it would spin around, and it'd be like, oh wow, and all that. But that's not going to happen now, because that's a lot. There's a lot of fail points. Like, simple enough, servo or motor. There's a vast difference between the two and how they work and what they do. And I honestly thought about making something that kind of worked like a turntable, where it was like kind of a combination between turntable and 3D printer rails, where it was like a rubber piece that went around, and the actual servo was part something else somewhere else. So that way I would be able to fully spin this, and I could put that anywhere and not be interrupted by other pieces, so that this would spin on like a sort of a gear system that kind of works like a conveyor belt, sort of. But again, so many things to think about, so many concepts to imagine out, and like there's just a lot. So, not that. I had this other idea that was going to be this facade that goes back here. Still kind of doing this, but doing a different thing. It was supposed to go back there. And the idea is you are shooting from here and going up into the clouds. Not going to say why, but it's a direct reference from the actual concept. You shoot up into the clouds via a cannon, and I was going to design a whole like cannon thing, and the shoot rod was going to be like pulling the string of a cannon. Kind of like a carnival cannon, like that shoots a person. And it's not that, but it's like that, sort of. Anyway, the whole concept is you would go up here and come out one of like 2 or 3 doors, and those would be skill shots. And it would be a really difficult skill shot because this would have to be a high power spring in order to make this ramp up. But the problem is, I have too many ideas. So I have to really cull things down. And that's one of the worst problems with designing homebrews. And this has got to be a problem with designing a pinball machine is like, what lands? What are you going to do versus what is a good idea versus what is a nightmare waiting to happen? So I'm choosing the path of least resistance for now because this is my first machine. I need some confidence before I really like take this on. It's still going to be like, okay, rule number one, this has to be fun. It has to be fun. Like nothing else matters. I don't care if it's a good playing machine. I don't care if it has good shots. I don't care if it's like, high skill, low skill, easy, whatever. If it's not fun for everybody of every skill level, then I failed. That's the thing. That I don't want anyone to approach this machine and not have a good time. So that's the goal. I'm going back to old school pinball here. And the whole goal is to entice you to keep playing, to get you to have fun, to get you to really enjoy it. And coupled between the software, the modes, the gameplay, the code, and the shots, I want everything to come together into just an enjoyable experience with a few things that are like, oh, wow, kind of moments. I want a few pinball moments in there. And I've got too many ideas for how to make that happen. So there might be like 3 more games on top of this because I have a lot of ideas and I have a lot of things that I haven't seen done in pinball that I think would be really cool ideas, but are way beyond my current skill capacity. So I need to ramp up to that before I can do it. But we need some different people in pinball because I feel like ideas are getting a little stale and we're like going into these niche ideas that are just everything I look at. I'm just like, but it's not fun. Like once the novelty wears off, once the nostalgia wears off, once you run out of your member berries, what is it? That for me was Labyrinth. I couldn't keep getting into it, and then I had to let it go. And I don't want that to be the experience with this. I want this to be a pinball machine that I make for myself that I will want to play forever. Some of the ideas are tying in video games, so there will be DMD modes. There will be things that happen that are not pinball, but more video game related. Because core to this concept are mini games. There's lots of mini games throughout this entire series because this is based on a video game property. So I want to tie that in, which means I have to learn game programming. That's what it is. So on top of all of this, I have to make some video games, like some small, very simple games, but still, I don't want them to be wearing. I don't want them to be boring. I want them to be something that is like a little bit exciting, but also not too long-winded. Like the Jaws mode, like I know some people like it. I don't particularly like it because I think it drags on too long. A lot of DMD modes, especially in games like Junkyard, it just drags on too long, or it's not actually all that difficult, or it happens too much. And I want it to be these modes pop up, and when they do, you're excited about it. Because they start out simple, and then they get real difficult. But the more difficult they get, the way higher score you can get. And the more variety I can add to it. So I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of ideas for adapting the games to a pinball mechanic where you only have 2 buttons. I don't want an action button. I don't want that to be a thing in this. I don't particularly like action buttons. I try to avoid it. So I don't want to do that. But here's what I've come up with so far. Let me give you a little tour. All right, so other than a huge mess, what I got so far is we're going to have a little secret kicker right here. And I'm giving you all my secrets, right? So, watch the show and you can find out all the little secrets that I'm adding. But basically, this, let me try to figure out how I'm going to hold all this. I need an actual mechanism. So I'm going to set up a whole streaming rig for this so that I can actually show everything and you can see my face, and I have everything set up. I just need to actually set it up here and get it going. But this is going to be a little secret kicker, and it is going to work like you expect, where you come in here and if you have it loaded up, it'll kick back. But it's not going to kick back the normal way like you're used to. It's going to kick back up that way. So it's going to go up this way, and it's going to go back into the orbit and come back around. But this is the neat thing I came up with, is back there's going to be diverter pop-ups. And they can, depending on the mode, depending on the code, it'll kick up from here, go up here, and then it might get stopped right there, and it'll run through a rollover and then come down and hit one of these pop bumpers, and it'll bump around a little bit. And there's some targets in here. And this is a little, I'm going to theme it to look like a cave. And it's going to have a whole bunch of color themes. It's going to be all colorized by LEDs, so that this can be any color that I want. This is going to be a little secret cavern. And it's going to have some pop bumpers, and those things are going to be in there. And then this might actually be a captive ball that I hit right here. And I'm going to have some sculpts that do things, like it's going to spin around, that kind of stuff. And then there's a scoop right here. This is going to be themed with the sculpt that will be covering up part of this. This is not functional, but this will be the habit trail. And the concept is, I don't have everything here, but the concept is basically you'll be able to hit up that way. It'll orbit around, come down here. You'll hit up that way. It'll come around and down here. And then you can hit up that way. And then it'll come around here. And then it's not here yet, but it'll be a little loop that comes down through here. And then through this little area here. And then down along to here. So the game is going to have a different kind of flow, like the flow you're used to go right to left. And it'll flow like that. But I'm going to have little surprises in there where things you'll do that once or twice. And this isn't permanent. This will actually be lifted up, and then sometimes it'll drop down. So if you hit up that way, and then you hit up that way, this will drop down and allow you to hit up that way. Otherwise, it's just going to go up into this cavern. And I'm not sure what all I'm doing there yet, but that's kind of the idea so far. What I don't have pictured here is a whole mechanism that is based on an up kicker that's going to be in the corner, and it's going to go up and go around and around and around and then dump into this and come down this way. So that all still needs to be designed, because I'm also thinking of adding a screen in the back. And instead of doing a normal DMD, I'm thinking of having a screen back here and then a screen right here. And between those two screens, it'll be different bits of information. Kind of like how the cell phone is and dialed in, there'll be a screen here. It'll be themed to something completely different, but it'll be relevant. And there'll be a screen back there, and that screen will kind of look like it's part of the background, and it will interact with whatever's going on back here. But it will also host your mini games and everything. The problem is that. So that is going up into a cloud. It's going to be a little fabricated cloud. So I need to be able to make that small enough so that you can still see the screen. And that's part of the problem. I got too many ideas. Because if you look at Creature here, Creature from Black Lagoon has this whole area, and I was like, oh, I can make that into a screen. But if I want to have the shooter lane go up into like a little cloud, unless I have it go behind the back box and the screen is in front of the back box, that's the only way I can make that work. But basically, I'd have two screens here, and I might not be doing a DMD in the back here, because this is going to be a little secret. There's going to be a little secret surprise going on here. Not going to disclose it yet, because that's going to be a whole thing I have to invent. But pop bumpers are going to be targets. That's not a thing you often see. And so I want to do that, where it feels like you're hitting a pop bumper, and it's not just acting like a pop bumper. It's acting like an enemy you hit. The idea is I want to attach little fabricated enemy sculpts over these and light them up so that it's signifying you're supposed to hit it. And when you hit it, they jump up and down, kind of like jet bumpers. And same for back there. I'm going to stick them up in a way that will fit around the ramps. But the idea is that everything is some kind of thing that does a thing. It's not just there for no reason or to fill space. There's a point and purpose to everything you can hit, everything that you can interact with. And it's not that I need every hit to do something, but it's that I want to make it so that anytime you interact with the flipper, you're interacting with the game. That the game just doesn't feel like bouncy and empty. And the other goal that I wanted it to do is when you hit up this way, the chance for you to randomly hit this flipper and be able to like flip that to go up there needs to be high. Like not super high, but relatively high. And this is one of the reasons why. So if you come over to Funhouse here. Now, Funhouse, you have this left flipper here, right? But you don't have enough space or placement to actually get the ball up into this area to then hit it up that way. It almost never works out that way. Like if you hit one of these targets here or here, it's just gonna bounce right back down. But I want to angle these targets in a way that it's going to be more likely to hit this flipper and give you more options, because the point of it is I want you to be able to, from here, loop the orbit or go up this ramp or go up into this area so that this flipper does a lot more than just one thing. like the flipper in Funhouse, it's basically like you can shoot into Rudy's mouth, you can shoot the loop. That's it. This, I want you to have at least 3 options, maybe a little bit more. I might be able to make the scoop so that you can hit the scoop from here. I don't know. We'll see. But I want lots of things to be possible. One of the difficulties I'm going to have is I have to have a diverter here. I have to have a diverter here. I have to have pop-up diverters up here. At least 1, maybe 2. And then I'm thinking about putting a diverter on this ramp so that this can go around this way, or it can go around down this way and follow the same path as this. Yeah. But on top of all of this is one other big idea. Second level playfield. So the idea is there will be a second level playfield. It's going to be shaped. It's not just going to be a square or anything like that. It's actually going to be kind of like, it's going to look like land. It's going to look like an upper land. I want this to look like a different level of, ground, not just like a square or whatever shape. And then this is going to be underneath, and it's going to rise up onto here. So normally this will be all covered, and it'll be covered and it'll look kind of like a bush. It'll just look like a bush. And then it'll rise up and you'll see it's actually a tree. And the tree is underground, and then it comes up, and that's your boss battle. So you have this boss battle, and then you have a couple of these guys that I want to make poppers so that when you hit them, they pop up, but I want them to pop up and spin. So I got to design that mechanism too. But the idea is you can hit up this way. I'm going to have like a little trap hole in between here so that if you accidentally hit the wrong way, you can fall down, and then you have to figure out how to get back up. But the whole idea is going to be a boss battle. And depending on what level you're in and where you're at, that might be a 1-ball boss battle. Might be a multi-ball boss battle. It might be a whole bunch of different things. Again, too many ideas. Anyway, thanks for coming with me on that ride. And there's going to be a lot more. There's going to be a lot more. I haven't even started the mission pinball part of making anything work. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you subscribe so you can see the rest of this nightmare that I build. And if I end up getting this to a place where I can actually show this off at Expo or anywhere else, you'll hear it here first. We'll see what happens. My goal is to have this something ready to show. It's going to be basic, but ready to show by Expo next year. I don't think I'm going to have anything ready by Midwest Gaming Classic. Odds are very unlikely. But you never know.